Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so the Extreme Z battle for physical final form cooler is going to be releasing tonight if you're in the US, or tomorrow morning for people like me in the UK. I will be streaming for this, so keep an eye out on the channel. Subscribe if you are new, click that bell button if you haven't already, and then you'll be notified when the stream goes live. Or join my Discord, the link is in the description. I always post in there when I'm about to go live as well. So, physical final form cooler, I did a video on him yesterday showing him off pre-EZA. Very excited for getting him fully EZA'd. So, his Extreme Z battle is a typical 30 stage EZA, so you can't stun from stage 5 onwards. You can't lower attack from stage 15 onwards, and you can't seal from stage 20 onwards. Stage 20, you get a damage reduction of 80% from tech, int, physical and extreme types. So you can basically only use Super AGL and Super STR, and the weakness is of course Super Saiyans. Makes perfect sense. Obviously Goku went Super Saiyan to defeat Cooler in the movie. Some of these EZAs, they have category weaknesses that make perfect sense for like the lore of the show, and then other ones not so much, but this is one of those ones that is perfectly in line. So for a typical 30 stage EZA, you get 30 stones for doing all the stages, 11 type Kais, a bunch of physical orbs and all the medals to EZA him, as well as the fact that you'll probably complete the missions along the way, which give you 4 extra stones as well. So 34 stones to pick up here, and of course the medals for EZAing your boy. I say this to people all the time, even if for some reason your account doesn't have physical final form cooler, maybe you are a newer player, do the EZA anyway, because obviously A, free stones, and then B, when you do eventually pull him in the future, or get him with a redstone when they start eventually adding those units, I'm sure you will already have the medals ready to EZA him. So Super Saiyan is the weakness category. As always with my team building guides, I go through my top picks, including some of the best leaders to use, and then we talk about some honourable mentions, and then I have a brief skim over the category at the end. I always say in these team building guides, if there is a unit that you think I missed out, or a unit that I didn't talk enough about, maybe I missed one of their key uses or something like that, make sure you let me know down below in the comments, and we can continue the discussion down there. So if you find this video helpful at all, do hit that like button, and let's go ahead and jump right in. So obviously straight away, the main category leader for Super Saiyans is the STR Namek Goku. He has the 3 key, HP 130 and attack and defense 170 leader skill. He is an STR unit, so obviously he is poised to be one of the perfect units to run for this. Now obviously it's a shame he didn't get his EZA during the download celebration, but he still is a fairly solid unit. You are mainly going to be bringing him as the leader, and I imagine with the wealth of options for this team, you probably have him floating off rotation. But from the 3rd turn, he can transform, and then of course, if HP is 50% or less from the 5th turn, you can have the Rage mode. EZAs don't normally go this long unless you're planning to go past stage 30 to get those extra Zenny statues, but you probably will get to see Super Saiyan Goku in the later stages as you start to take some damage. But overall, he's still a fairly solid unit. He's an infinite defensive stacker, which obviously in shorter events doesn't quite add up as to being as useful, but he does of course have the chance to guard. He's got type advantage anyway, but this activating obviously means he takes slightly less damage, especially when a super attack is involved. And of course, when the guard activates, he has a high chance to crit for 3 turns, so you definitely want that to be going down anyway. So he's the straight up Super Saiyan's leader. The next one is of course the AGL Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku. He has Super Saiyan's 4 key and 130 lead. He is AGL, so he doesn't have type advantage, but he is still of the typing that will be able to do damage. Defensively, this unit is not the best in harder content, so as you get to the higher stages or past stage 30, but you can kind of get around that by deliberately going for his 12 key super, so that he greatly raises defense for 1 turn, and then after that he'll be perfectly fine. He does create rainbow orbs and get extra key from rainbow orbs, so sometimes you do have to try to go out of your way to get the 12 key super, but in the earlier stages, if you just go all out, grab those rainbow orbs, get like a 24 key super, he's going to be doing insane amounts of damage while not taking all that much damage back in return. in those early stages. So even if you're not using him as a leader, he's definitely a worthwhile option to consider on the team if he fits into the build that you're running. Because obviously, if you don't have one of the actual Super Saiyans leads, we're not going to talk about the Namek Goku, because obviously he's got type advantage and he gets the disadvantage, and he gets the 80% damage reduction, so there's really no point using him. So if you don't have a Super Saiyan's lead, recently of course we got the EZA for transforming Goku, who is on the Super Saiyan category. He is a super class key 3 HP attack and defense 130 lead after his EZA. And honestly, in terms of for the difficult content, he's probably more useful than the Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku. And of course, you're not restricted to only the Super Saiyan category. Whilst you do want to only bring Super Saiyans as much as possible, depending on your box, you might not even be able to make a full team of STR and AGL Super Saiyans. So it's much better to bring like an STR unit who's very strong defensively, who maybe isn't in the Super Saiyan category, than it is to put in a weaker Super Saiyan category unit. So this guy has you covered because he goes across all super types. Obviously he transforms with each turn, but you're probably not going to get much further than Super Saiyan 3. Maybe you might see Super Saiyan God in the later stages, but probably not. So this guy, very, very strong leader, and again, like the Spirit Bomb Goku, if you're not going to use him as a leader, I would still probably recommend bringing him on the team. Him more so over the Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku, because, yeah, his EZA made him very, very good. Next up, we have the LR Gohan. LR Gohan, obviously in the Super Saiyans category, he is the Kamehameha leader. So if you're missing a proper Super Saiyans lead, Kamehameha obviously has a lot of crossover with Super Saiyans. Some of the units we've mentioned already are obviously on there. So you can run a Kamehameha lead and then just run all Super Saiyans that are in that category. And then that allows you to still bring a Super Saiyans friend. Obviously we're not fighting an android, and we won't be bringing an Android 16 on the team. Or any other android, so you know you're not going to see him transform into Super Saiyan 2, but Super Saiyan 1 LR Gohan, he's still pretty good. Obviously raising defense after super, like I said previously, longer events, infinite stackers aren't as great, but he only needs 1 or 2 supers off and his defense is really solid. So he is a strong option on the team, even if you're not using him as the lead. Although I will say, I've mentioned this for a couple of AGL units already, I still would prioritize STR units over AGL, because whilst AGL is not getting the damage reduction, they are obviously type neutral, so they're going to do slightly less damage and take more damage than your STR units. But Gohan, definitely still a good possibility, and another option to use as the leader with the crossover for Kamehameha category. So next up, we have someone that I know a lot of people are going to be using as a leader. I've already seen a few people posting about it. I probably will use this build as well. And this is the LR, Goku, and Vegeta. So obviously this LR still considered one of the top units in the game. Very, very powerful. They lead Battle of Wits and Majin Buu Saga. And there is a lot of crossover with Super Saiyans for that leader skill pairing. So you can quite easily make a team with Goku and Vegeta as the leader, and then a full Battle of Wits or Majin Buu team build that are all Super Saiyans. So that's obviously a very strong setup. They have the 3 key HP 130, attack and defense 170, so solid stats. Obviously they deal quite a lot of damage with either of their supers, and they have damage reduction. They get extra keeper orbs, they have a built-in chance to additional. So these guys are crazy, crazy good. If you don't have a good box set up for doing a full Battle of Wits or Majin Buu Saga team, but you do have this unit, then, I mean, after you pick your Super Saiyan's lead, these guys should probably be the next unit that you pick, because they are incredibly, incredibly good for this event. They can transform from the 4th turn, which in the later stages you might get to turn 4. Obviously in an EZA you can't heal, so you could potentially be below that 77% threshold. And then once you transform into Super Vegeta, you obviously get the free heal off for that one time only. And you can see super attacks for 10 turns, which, I mean, the EZA is never going to last 10 more turns after you've already gone the first few turns for them to transform. And so then that makes the end of the EZA a complete joke, because you can see exactly where the super attacks are, which, I mean, even in the harder content, the super attacks are really only the things you need to worry about in the later stages, I should say. So this guy absolutely must bring on the team if you have him, and also makes for a very good lead setup. So the other unit I wanted to talk about, now this guy, I guess he's more of an honourable mention and a top pick at the same time, because a lot of people won't have him, because the type support units not only haven't returned in forever, but even when they were around, like, people didn't really summon on these banners very much. So the STR Kabe, he does have Super STR types 4 key and HP attack and defense 120, so you can use him as a lead if you're really lacking in other options, or if you've got a team set up, like for example, he can't be used on the double Goku and Vegeta LR team because he's not in Battle of Wits or Majin Buu Saga, but if you're just running a more straight up Super Saiyans team, this guy will obviously be very useful as he is buffing all of the Super STR types with the 50% attack and defense and 3 key. So, like I say, not a lot of people are going to have this guy. He doesn't fit into every single possible team build, but if you do have him, you can use him as a substitute leader, and he's obviously going to be very good on a team that is very Super STR centric. So, next up we have High School Gohan. So we're moving on from the leads now to talk about some of the units that are going to be, you know, the most effective on the team. And High School Gohan is definitely way up there. Like, he doesn't do a lot of damage, but you guys have seen me use him in videos before. This is a pick for people, like if you're maybe struggling with the EZA, especially for the later stages. This guy on your team is going to be a massive help because throughout the whole of this EZA, even from a super attack, he's not going to take a lot of damage because he's a Super STR Super Saiyan, so he's got all the bonuses from the actual EZA, and of course he has 58% defense and 58% damage reduction, stacked on top of the fact that he's also a support unit, so of course he gets that support as well. He's got some decent links, so I mean this guy is an absolute must use on the team if you have him. He's going to be super good even in the later stages, being one of the units on the team that takes the least damage. So if you have this guy, definitely throw him on the team straight away. And of course he is also in Majin Buu Saga, so perfect. And then this guy, we have the Str Trunks that came out on the Saiyan Day banner. Now, this guy is a hybrid Saiyan support, and that is most of the time where you will see people running him, because obviously he has the attack and defense 40% and 3 key to hybrid Saiyan allies. But he starts off, he has got attack and defense 200%, and he has a built-in medium chance of launching an additional super attack. He raises attack and defense for 1 turn on super. Or, if you have his unit super with a Youth Gohan in the same turn, he greatly raises attack and he raises defense, but it's an infinite stack. Now, obviously, we already talked about a Youth Gohan, which is the AGL LR. So if you're running the AGL LR, you could bring this guy and run them as a rotation, and then they will be super good, because not only are you getting the unit super, you have the chance to do multiple supers if you have a dupe or additional skill orbs for this guy, because he has an additional in his passive, so he could super attack 3 times, and on rotation with that Gohan, each of those super attacks is stacking his defense, and he gets greatly raises attack as well. So his damage numbers are going to be pretty decent. And obviously we've already talked about units like High School Gohan. Like, there's a lot of hybrid Saiyans you could fit onto this team as well. So Trunks being there, even if there are no other hybrid Saiyans, I would still say he's a good pick. But obviously the more hybrid Saiyans on the team, the more utility this guy then brings. So he is really good. Next up we have this Gohan, the Super Saiyan Great Saiyaman. He's another one that he fits in quite nicely if you're running a Majin Buu Saga themed team with the Goku and Vegeta leads, because he's got fairly solid stats. He is a Majin Buu Saga Superclass Allies support unit, so obviously that helps out that team. And he can do pretty reasonable damage. I guess he's probably more of an honourable mention, but he is actually quite a solid unit. I was pretty impressed with his overall performance, having used him on other teams. So he's not going to be the hardest hitting or the best defensive unit on your team, but he's definitely going to be very good, and he is providing a buff to the other Majin Buu Saga allies if you've gone down that road in the terms of the team building. So he is a very solid unit to bring. Next up we have Kefla. So Kefla is a unit that gets a lot of stick from a lot of people. A lot of people do not like this unit, mainly because she's unreliable. You have to pick up the 6 orbs if you want to have the chance to dodge, but I think she does get a bit of a bad rap. Like, she's a slow to build up unit, but in Super Saiyan she's pretty decent. You still need the 6 or more orbs to dodge, and then once she gets to Super Saiyan 2, she's actually really good. The only problem is, of course, you do have to wait quite a while to get there, and in an EZA you might not get to see the Super Saiyan 2 at all. But she can definitely be a useful pick. Like, I think she's probably more of an honourable mention, just because obviously her links with all the units that we've talked about so far. She's not the most cohesive unit to fit into this team build, but if you are at a point where you've picked your first 5 units and then you're just kind of struggling to fill in that last spot on the team, I do think Str Kefla is a worthwhile pick, and she's definitely not going to be the worst unit you could bring, so it's definitely worth considering her. She's been on some banners recently for Global, so it's very possible you have her over somebody else we talked about in the video. So next up we have the AGL Super Saiyan Gogeta. Obviously he has a built-in chance to dodge, which is pretty nice. He's got fairly decent stats. He's effective against all types, so it doesn't matter that he doesn't have type advantage. He doesn't transform into Blue Gogeta until turn 5, so you might not see this maybe if you are going to go past stage 30. And then of course he has a higher chance to dodge and gets guaranteed crits. So he can put out some pretty decent damage once he's transformed, but like I said, you're probably not going to see that very often. In his untransformed state, he has very good links, so he's going to fit into the team really well. And obviously that built-in chance to dodge just can come in very useful when it comes to not taking damage in those later stages if, it's starting to become a little bit harder. Now, obviously, if the chance to dodge doesn't go off in the later stages, he's going to take a lot more damage, especially if it's a super attack. But he is a worthwhile option to consider as well. Then, of course, we have this Goten. I thought I would throw him on here because he's a pretty solid unit even without a Trunks in the same turn, but yeah, he's probably again like an honorable mention. If you need to fill in that 6th slot on the team, you could bring him because he's still a pretty solid unit, especially after super attacking, but without a Trunks he's obviously not putting out his full potential, and he is only type neutral, so there are some better picks that you could make, but if you're desperate to fill that last spot, you could bring him. And then the final honorable mention is going to be our boy AGL Super Vegito. So this guy, a lot of people were underwhelmed by his EZA, but I mean, as long as he doesn't take super attacks, this guy just doesn't really take any damage. Counters, that's just free extra damage, especially if you're getting crits. And then on super attack, he does raise allies' attack by 35%. So if you have him attacking in slot 1, everybody else on the turn is going to hit harder. Now, he does take quite a lot of damage from a super, but as long as you can keep him hidden away from super attacks, he tanks really well, and he's going to dish out a ton of free extra damage for you. So those are the top picks and honorable mentions for the cooler EZA. Having a look down this list, like I say, Goku, he's got type disadvantage and loses 80% of his damage, so there's no point really bringing him. Same with like tech and physical. I guess if you really wanted to bring that Goten, you could bring like this Tech Trunks or the physical Super Saiyan Goten just to really maximize that, Trunks, just to fully maximize that Goten, but just remember that they won't be doing any damage, so seems kind of pointless. I didn't talk about this guy. He was the guy that got re-added into banners recently, the awakening for that old STR Super Saiyan Goku. He's okay, but he's not super great. He's got a lot of 50s in his number. All of his thing is about 5s. He's got a lot of 50%. He raises attack and defense of 5 turns. He only has 5 links. But, I mean, again, he's a solid pick over someone. I would say if you were at 5 units and you need to pick one final one, I'd probably bring this guy over bringing, like, the AGL Goten by himself. Because without having Trunks to fully maximize his passive and being type neutral, I imagine he probably takes more damage from a super in the later stages than this guy does. But yeah, he's a decent one. The Vegeta and Trunks are a good free-to-play option if you are free-to-play and you need to fill in those final spots on the team. This Trunks is okay defensively as well after some supers, and when you're on lower HP, his defense is better. We don't have the EZA for Super Trunks yet. This Goten is okay as well after his EZA. His numbers are solid. He's started to age a bit now. He is also an orb changer, so that could come in handy. And then in terms of AGL, I mean, these Gokus that got EZAs, they're okay, but again, they're probably only like last slot filler units. Same for this LR Prime Battle Trunks. He's a free-to-play unit, so more people are going to have him, but he's mainly geared around fighting multiple enemies, and obviously he's starting to show his age a little bit with his stats now as well. Bardock could be a decent option, but you are fighting a Wicked Bloodline unit as well, actually, so he is going to be able to get his transformation early. So you could transform straight away in turn 1, and then of course he has the built-in chance to dodge, built-in chance to crit, so he could actually be pretty useful. Make sure you've got your active skill skip thing turned on though, because as much as I love seeing this guy's active skill, you're probably going to transform him in turn 1 in every single fight, so you're going to be seeing that animation quite a lot. But there you go, that is it for the top picks and honourable mentions for the Physical Cooler EZA team building guide. Let me know what you guys think down below, and like I said at the beginning, if there's a unit you think I missed or didn't talk enough about, let me know and we can continue the discussion down below in the comment section. And feel free to let us know down below what your team build for this EZA is going to be. So like I said at the start, I will be live streaming the EZA, so make sure to come and check out the channel when the EZA drops, and we can go through it together. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.